Here we are. Here we are. Oh, hello. Hello, Cryptic. What's up? Cryptic says, well, hello. I went to check B Sky to see when you were starting and then clicked back to YouTube and refreshed, and there you were. Welcome. That was fast. I am so glad that you're here and that I'm not going to be awkwardly talking into a void for 2 hours like I was last week. But, standard intro. You know how it goes. So, and especially since I've heard that I might be getting new viewers today, possibly? Question mark? We'll see. But in any case, to everybody listening, including Cryptic, one of our longtime regulars, hello and welcome to Night Rights. My name is Jax. I am a fantasy author-ish, working on their debut, which you can see on your screen. And Night Rights is our weekly writing chat. They happen on Tuesdays. You have just come into possibly your first one. We are happy to have you. So what Night Rights is it's pretty simple. We do have an open chat, so if you're on Blue Sky and you've just hit the play button, you might be missing a little bit. So consider hitting that link, especially if you're going deep into the stream and you're like, this sounds like fun. Yes, there's an open chat. There are only 2 rules to the open chat. Be cool to each other, aka don't be an asshole, and don't do anything to violate the YouTube TOS. So basically, don't be a dick and don't get us demonetized. I'm just kidding, nobody's actually monetizing shit. Including me. I have not published anything, but self-depreciating humor aside, what we do here is you type things in the chat, I read them aloud and respond to them. We also do word sprints starting at 9 p.m. on the dot. What word sprints are, they're actually word sprints in name only. Traditional word sprints are that you sit down and you write for a period of time. As you can see by the timer in the very bottom of your screen, ours are 20 minutes long. And that's all you're doing, just writing for 20 minutes, doing whatever. And then at the end of 20 minutes, you stop, you tell your partners how you did, and you keep take a little bit of a rest, and then you start reading again if you feel like it. For our streams, however, not everybody actually writes on them. I write, you will see progress happening on your screen, the majority of your screen right there. But you can do basically whatever you want, as long as you do something. You can even chill out for 20 minutes. I have had people who were like, I was just vibing this entire 20 minutes, but I feel so relaxed afterwards. You can definitely do that. You can knit, you can craft, you can edit, you can actually do some writing, you can art. I've had people play video games. It really does not matter, so long as at the end of those 20 minutes you are willing to chatter again. At the end of those 20 minutes, as I said, we all share our progress, but we also kind of chatter a little bit just to give ourselves a break, get up, stretch, relax, get more water, do whatever. Then we dive back into another sprint. We do this 3 times, so that is 3 sprints with 1 break in between, and that is the entire night. We also, so as I've said, we start at 9 p.m. on the dot. Usually this first half an hour we just sit around, shoot the shit, catch up with each other. You will notice I swear like a sailor, by the way. I do apologize for any minors who might have somehow stumbled onto this chat room. But we also have a little icebreaker, because I know that a lot of my fellow writers are people after my own heart. You are all introverts and very socially awkward in group settings. You like to hang back, watch, and wait until the timing is right for a well-timed joke. For you guys, we also have a thing called the icebreaker. You see that on the left-hand panel underneath what I'm working on and about the chat rules. And the icebreaker is basically just a writing question that we all get to answer and just chat about. So usually it's like something to incite conversation or just to help us get to know you, your characters, your world, whatever you feel like. Tonight's icebreaker is, what do characters do to celebrate their birthday? Incidentally, tonight is a very special version of Night Rights because today happens to be my birthday. How old am I? I am not saying. However, I will give you a hint. I am old enough to remember the 90s and do things that I have regretted while doing the Macarena. That's your only hint. I will I will not say how old I was during those things I regret. The Macarena is in itself its own form of embarrassment. But in any case, that is the icebreaker of tonight. And yes, happy birthday to me. I have spent the entire day running around doing all kinds of fun things. But I do have to admit that today is. Cryptic says, I've done a little bit of everything regarding what you can do during ring sprints. Yes, Cryptic. Cryptic is one of our favorite regulars because Cryptic comes in with all kinds of fun. And Cryptic is. I hope you don't mind if I go off about how I appreciate you, but I really do. I appreciate every regular who comes in and everybody who stops in and says hi, even if it's a one-off thing. But Cryptic comes to most of these, and he usually has like some kind of cool thing going on. Often, I won't say often video games, but it's yeah, it's either like the coolest work in progress, or just vibing, or some kind of chill as f video game. It's like it's so cool, and I am very appreciative. It's also like I appreciate people who are are a little bit more relaxed about the whole writing thing, because like we're all community, and oftentimes in writing communities it's like oh, you're there's an emphasis placed on people who actually are published, like are not intending, because even like people who are aspiring and intending to publish sometimes get to fall by the wayside. But like writing, it comes in many different forms. It's like any other kind of art. You don't like go to a hobbyist artist, like a hobbyist fan artist, and go, okay, cool, when are you going to like get or put your stuff in a gallery, right? So like I like whenever people are like super chill about their writing, and they come to events like these and they're like, yeah, I mean, I could write, but I also have my Switch in my lap and also a cat. And please tell me about, or please let me talk about my cat. And that was a Freudian slip, because I am also saying, Cryptic, please tell me about your cat. But yeah, that was a tangent. That happens a lot. Just as a heads up to anybody who might be new. But yeah, birthday. And yeah, today is mine. Basically, it's been a busy day between work actually being productive and running around forging my own celebrations in a way. Like, I kind of normally I'm like super lazy with cooking during the weekdays, because I'm like, I would rather I've already got work. I would rather be doing a million other things. But today I was like, I'm going to make these banana-filled spring rolls that are traditional to Filipino cooking for breakfast. And I'm going to make stir fry for dinner, and I'm going to uh, I don't know, I had a couch delivered today and all kinds of other things. It's like one thing after another, and I was also like perky. It's like, it's so weird because I don't normally go out and have like a birthday party, right? I haven't had like a real birthday party since I was 21, or like, nah, since I was like 24, early 20s, I want to say. Not telling you my age still, but like, it's been a while, and it's mostly because I don't know, like that last time that I did, it was like pulling teeth to get people to show up, and it's sort of like this feels like work, like throwing your own birthday party, and even a couple years ago, whenever I was still living with my ex, like even trying to get him to do stuff, like not to be depressing about it, but like getting people to do stuff is work, and to do it for like myself is kind of embarrassing. Like like I would be more than happy to be like, oh yeah, there's my friends want to go hang out, but they have no idea what they want to do. So I'm going to rope or wrangle all these people, and I have picked out a restaurant. And if anybody has any problems with that restaurant, they can offer suggestions. But seeing as nobody is suggesting anything, we're going to do this. Or that I'm not always the person who comes with a plan, but like I'm the kind of person who enjoys planning. So and if nobody else has a plan, I'm like, cool. I have a plan. I have 5 plans. Here are our options. Tell me which plan you like the best. So that I'm fine with. But when it's about me, it's sort of like, man, I mean, this is awkward that you're here for me. So basically, I don't normally celebrate my birthday. Even this past weekend, I was out with a friend, and I was like, and we were going out anyway to be like, because I play Ingress, which is Pokemon Go's sci-fi older sibling, and every second Sunday of the month they have an event, and you go out, you do a series of quests that we call missions, and you get pretty achievements for them. So my friend and I went out, and we were out there for that reason. But he's also like, it's your birthday weekend. Whatever you want to do, let's go do it. And I'm like, please don't make me decide. So like, it's awkward, but yeah. So normally it's like I come up with a plan for my birthday to do it on my own. And if people want to join me, that's cool. If they don't, that's also cool. That was the attitude that I had with my ex, which is why I brought him up a couple years ago, which was the last time I really had this major thing go on. I took myself to a cat cafe and hung out in Lower Manhattan. It was a lot of fun, but he kind of bailed on me at the last moment, which is also part of why he's an ex. Aside from the massive mountain of debt that he left me in, but anyway, um, but yeah, that was honestly probably the last real huge kind of to do. It was the last time I went out of my way to do something. Today, I kind of stayed home because work. I don't take off for it. Like, I don't know who takes off for their birthdays, not shaming anybody who does, but still. But, like, it was just me at home. I had time, and I did things for myself, and it felt really good. And I posted about, it was my birthday, and a whole bunch of people actually wished me a happy birthday, more so than even last year, and that felt good too. And it's like, it feels like it's been better this year than last. And I just kind of want to say also that if you wish me a happy birthday and you're listening, and I just want to thank you because like like I said, it felt better than last year, and it means a lot because it means that, not to be selfish about it, but I have come a long way since last year. Like I remember last year I was still with the ex, and it was kind of quiet because this was before I really got into Blue Sky and found like the community there, and I didn't really know the FC as much as I do now. Um, and basically, I didn't know my friend over in, or any of my friends in Brooklyn yet, anything like that, and it was kind of like just me waiting around for my ex to actually say happy birthday. And finally he did at 11 p.m. on the 16th. And even though, the FC had wished me a happy birthday and I made myself a cake and things like that, it just sort of felt like a little bit emptier back then. But now it feels full. Like, it felt really good to, be around people and realize that, these are people that I've really connected with over the past year, like the FC, people in Blue Sky, my offline friends, and even a little bit of family too. Um, yeah, and I feel happier and it feels just brighter. I bought a shit ton of pins so that I can decorate a bag so that I can take this plush bee that makes me ridiculously happy out on adventures, which I'm going out on more often. And it's all in all just really cool. But yeah, that was my day so far, and now you are here listening to me, and I'm just chilling. It's gonna be 10 more minutes to our first sprint, and I haven't even given you guys any kind of time for the icebreaker. So I'm actually going to turn the chat over to y'all for a little bit. Um, don't make me answer the icebreaker first, but if you want to say hi, drop in and say hi. Just typey type into the chat, uh, or you can answer the question or just be like, hey, what's up? I'm here. If Cryptic wants to talk about his cat, I'm just saying. I'm kidding. You don't have to. But, just chill out. Say hi. Cryptic says, I hadn't really thought about what my characters do for their birthdays before before this. Well, now is a good time. To be fair, I haven't really either. Like, I know when Mick and Eleanor's birthdays are. Mick is July 2nd, Eleanor's is December 31st. Yes, even though they don't live on Earth and there should be a different calendar. I'm not that creative, guys. But, yeah. I mean, I logically know, but, Anyway, Cryptic does offer an answer from here on out, from that point forward. Cryptic says, but now I'm thinking about the kind of rich kid, no wrong heroes Thor is, and immediately it's the image of the teenagers' movies party at the rich kid's house without their parents. Absolutely glorious. There's like booze and everything. Excellent. See, when you said rich kid, I thought you were about to launch into like Richie Rich levels of shenanigans. But I appreciate this as well. Like, Cryptic says, unrestricted access to all kinds of things a teenager can get in trouble with, no adult supervision. What can go wrong? That's his college birthday pre-story too. Sorry, I can read. That's his college birthdays, plural, pre-story too. I fully support Thor going all out. He deserves it. And also, this is very fitting. This is very fitting. This is very fitting for what I know about Thor. Because, if I recall correctly, you've described him as a bit of a douche, right? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Oh, Cryptic says post story is a lot more fancy restaurants with his friends from the dream world. Aww. Cryptic also says he starts as a douche, and then someone actually pays attention to him as a person for once in his life. Oh. Right, this is it. The story with, I mean, all of your stories have an emphasis on found families, but the Dream Heroes one is especially found family friendly. And I love this for him. Like, the entire showcase of his growth and how even just a teeny bit of love, even platonic, can change a person so much and make and just uplift them. So it like he goes from party hardy douche to hey, let's have a get together that's actually kind of adultish, but also I kind of want to know how his friends from the dream world take to fancy restaurants because I know that not all of them are fancy restaurant types. Cryptic says, yeah, I think I really hammered that in without even realizing how deep it was going to go and not. And no wrong heroes. Cryptic says he's paying because his dad doesn't care at all what he uses the credit cards for. Oh yeah, Fenrir doesn't know how to exist there. He's a flannels, lives in the woods kind of guy. Oh my god, I want to see this so badly. Can you please just write a side story involving this? Just like one birthday party. It would be the most awkward and beautiful and funny thing ever. Also, I feel like it's important to update. I am looking at my blue sky replies just like here and there just to see if folks are streaming in or whatnot. Haha, streaming, but you know what I mean. And shout out to RS Mott at mottthepaladin.bsky.social for saying happy Beef Day. I love bee puns, and you know me well already. I love you. Thank you. I will also do a writing shout out in case Mod is not in. But yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Cryptic says, I now kind of want to write a quick little set of snippets of all their first birthday parties together after the end of the Dream World conflict. Do it. Also, that sounds like a really good way to like showcase all of their personalities and how much they've changed through over the course of the story. Maybe because like at least you have Thor, but like now you have like all these people with so many like in this found family consisting of so vastly different people, and now they're kind of like navigating that. So it's sort of like it's I don't know. It's just sounds like it'd be really fun and interesting to read. Hercules is taking his friends to WWE. Fucking beautiful. Absolutely fucking beautiful. Cryptic says, I'm slowly getting a picture of everything. I love it. Excellent. I expect it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not ordering you to do this, but at the same time, I am enabling you to do this. I am encouraging you to do this, and I am 100% behind you if you do this. Speaking of, it is 3 minutes until our first stream. I assume Cryptic's going to be writing that. No, I'm kidding. If you do have a project, feel free to drop it into the chat to talk about it. Otherwise, we are beginning in 3 minutes. Okay, it's too silent. 2 minutes. Anyway, Cryptic, please tell me that you are writing this. Yes or no, just do it, man. Also, as a reminder, this is going to be a 20-minute sprint, so if you haven't yet, go get something to drink. Remember, hydration and actually sleeping properly are both excellent things to do if you want to be creative. Like, keeping yourself alive on a very base level, my dudes. I say this even though I am perpetually dehydrated and also an insomniac, but hey. Cryptic says, I'm probably going to at least try. Hell yeah. Are you going to post snippets to B-Sky afterwards? I'm sorry, I just have to know. Also, and speaking of which, I do have my evening tea with me. It is Earl Grey as usual. And this has suddenly turned into an ASMR stream. Thank you to Lo-Fi Girl for the background music. I am definitely not streaming one of her streams as we're streaming. It's a streamception, and I am not apologizing for this whatsoever. Anyway, Cryptic says, oh, I will definitely post snippets if I get anywhere. Hell yeah. On that note, it is 9 p.m., so we are going to be starting the first of 3 streams. 20 minutes are on the clock, and as usual, for our first stream of the night, let's just take a quick moment to shake out your wrists and flex your fingers. If you haven't warmed up already, and I do mean that in terms of physically as well as creatively, just as a quick tip, always flex your fingers before you start pounding the keyboard, so to speak, and also a little bit literally. And also, it always helps a little bit if you haven't yet to do a little quick writing sketch or just to do a little bit of a crafty craft thing to just get yourself into the mindset. But considering the fact that we're right up against one of our streams, we're just going to skip that part and shake out our wrists and fingers. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it out slowly through your mouth. Going into the first one nice and relaxed. One more time for me, little dudes. And hold it. And slowly out. Now that you're feeling relaxed, that's 20 minutes on the clock. I'll be seeing you around 9:20. And I wish you the best of luck on this first sprint. If you want to keep on chatting in the chat, you are more than welcome to drop in and say hello. Drop in words. I will be reading them after the 20-minute sprint. With that said, get ready, get set, And here we go. All right, that is the end of our very first word sprint. I can words right now. I can definitely words right now. So, how did we do? I'm setting a timer for 15 minutes just to give us a little bit of an idea of how long I've rambled on our upcoming break. We will need this later, trust me. But in any case, I did 430 words, most of which I'm probably going to throw away later on. But it's a draft. You know how drafts are. I know I've been very self depreciating about that, at least tonight, but basically, like, the way that I see it, this is essentially as much of a trash draft as the last few have been. Anytime that I've reinvented the plot, as I have with this one a few times, I basically start from scratch. So it's going to be rough and it's going to be absolute shit. But the main idea is that I get it on paper so that I can trim and dress up a little bit later. But the bones are there. But if you were actually watching your screen, you would have seen me type paragraphs, then delete them, then retype them, and go through all kinds of different angles. But this is a very awkward part for me, I do believe. It's a conversation that's kind of important for my main character's development and his reasoning for making a bad decision that is going to be very fun for the rest of the novel in a next chapter, actually. And we are getting to the end of this chapter at the very least, but it is kind of awkward. I can feel it now. This isn't quite clicking, so I might go back and try to rework this later. But the general gist is here. Like, the antagonist is, or one of the antagonists has popped up. He's started needling into the main character's self esteem, planting the seeds of doubt about whether or not the love interest actually wants to hang out with him, so to speak, that kind of thing. And it's going to blossom into bad decisions later and all kinds of other fun things. Like, we also get a little bit of the establishment of, the party that the antagonist hangs out with, why he feels very full of himself already. He feels like, his adventure as like an adventurer, a monster hunter, is off to an incredible start. He has this strong party and he's building up reputation and everything is going according to plan. But yeah, so a lot of things are happening right now, and a lot of things in general in this chapter is happening. It is already 6,000, nearly 6,000 words. I'm very aware of that. I'm gonna have to trim down, but it is the exposition and laying down of foundation of plot chapter essentially. But let's see, how did the rest of the y'all do? Cryptic says, I tried. I got the very opening bit done and lost focus. I will definitely be coming back to this idea, though. I mean, it's a lot. I did ask you to dive into a work in progress without any planning whatsoever. Like, we did, like, 2 seconds of planning before you did that. So, the fact that you got anything down is a feat for me. Or, not for me. What the hell am I saying? It's a feat in my book. There we go. That's what I meant to say. What the hell? Anyway, that having been said, it is a good start. And I do hope that you'll come back to it because it's an incredible idea. Uh, Cryptic says, to be fair, I tend to just get stuck with inspiration and go. Oh, struck with inspiration and go. I just spent a lot of time in the car today. Oh, that would do it too. Like, I don't know if you were driving or just a passenger, but either way, that's long car rides are exhausting. So 100%, if you don't feel up for it, totally understandable. You can use the other 2 sprints to just chill if you need to, or if you want to try a different work in progress and just sort of like pick away at that, you can, or just like do your usual video game stuff. All good. You know, do what you feel would give you the most amount of recharging right now. Cryptic says just passenger. Fair enough. So yeah, it'd still be exhausting. Like, sure, you're not like doing the steering and keeping your eyes peeled on the road the entire time, but it's like if you're sitting there and watching the world go by, sure, that sounds relaxing, but I don't know. For me, it's like the longer the car ride, the more it's just like I just want to go to my destination. It's like that old adage, the old adage. It's not about the destination; it's about the journey, stuff like that. Whoever said that was not riding in a car for 8 hours straight. So I'm just putting that out there first off. Second off, um, yeah, it's exhausting and boring to be in a giant hunk of metal traveling at 60 to 70 miles an hour for hours at a time. Cryptic says, yeah, I felt like I could tried it and realized I gotta just chill, and I'm more than happy to just chill right now. Totally a-okay. So I assume that's what you're going to be doing just for the rest of the other 2 sprints, just kind of vibing. Totally 100%. I'm just kind of curious. Okay. Cryptic says, yeah, excellent. Yeah, I hope that the other 2 sprints are relaxing for you. Do what you need to do, more or less. Something like that. Anyway. Um, yeah, other than that, normally here's where I go off on stuff, but like, I'm just kind of chilling. Recently I had done this huge cleanup of the apartment. So like I'm messing around with my dice bag, which I finally found buried in one of the boxes. I still haven't found all of my Switch games, which bothers me because it means that I definitely did leave it in a box I had forgotten to take with me on my move, which the X took with me, which means that I will never see what's in that box ever again, and that sucks. But trying to think about what was in it. I think it was Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, um, Pokemon Sword, and maybe some 3DS games, but Ring Fit. So like yeah, it's a lot of video game progress I will never see again. Oh well, but like a lot of the important stuff came with me at the very least. I'm just a little bit salty, you know. But, you know, it is what it is. It's like you find new and exciting reasons to be salty about a relationship that went south very quickly. But it is what it is. I guess the theme of the night is like talking about a year's progress and where I was last year compared to this year. But like I do feel a lot freer in a lot of ways. But when did I start these streams? It was December, right? Hold on. Because I feel like we should totally do a session where I talk about how far we've come in general. Uh, let's see, the very first stream that I have a file for, because I keep all of the banners with all the past questions and whatnot. It looks like it was on October 20th. Maybe. I mean, the other thing that I could do is just look at YouTube and see when the very first stream was, but you know, let's take a look. It was damn. I did not put a date on this. Well, let me look at this without actually playing it. October 18th. Okay. Aw, I was working on what I was still calling Draft 3. Anyway, yes, October 18th will be our first anniversary of these. What day is October 18th? We're doing this, guys. We are going to see if we plan entire anniversary thing. October 18th is a Saturday. Am I doing anything on that Saturday? I don't think I am. So that might actually be a special stream for us, guys. But, yeah, it feels... Cryptic says, almost exactly a month away. Exactly. In general, I feel like, fall is... Cryptic says it's a Saturday. Yep. I feel like fall is so much better for me. Like, summer is always weirdly depressing. Side fun fact, this year I learned that seasonal depression is a thing for summer people, or for in the summer as well as the winter. So that's a fun thing to know. I'm not sure if I get that, or if what I usually feel is just usual garden variety depression. But it just feels like every single summer, all the things are happening. Like, there are always bad things that happen to me in the summer. It's usually fucking July that fucking does it. Like, last year it was the ex was starting to test the waters with ghosting me, and a couple years before then I was laid off, and so on and so forth. And you know, it's like summer sucks. But then we get into autumn when good things start happening. Like I started last year, I decided, if I decide to start becoming independent and pull myself away, and it's been a hard year since, but sure, but like at the same time, I'm not vegetating in my unhappiness. Like the first step to here's a little a philosophical thing for y'all, says the person who's been watching The Good Place, which we will get to later on in the night, I'm sure, because I'm 2 episodes away from actually finishing again. But in any case, here's a little philosophical nugget for y'all. The first step to improvement is, as they say, admitting you have a problem. So it's all, you know how they say it's always darkest before dawn, and so on and so forth. Basically, you have to go through the bad times before you get to the good. Here's a little metaphor, basically. My apartment was full of absolute shit. Like, literally. There were things in it that I was just collecting. And over the past few months, I would throw little bits away, but the other day, I just literally just emptied out all my closets and went through literally everything that I had in them. And I threw out so much stuff. And it felt good. But it felt good afterwards, whenever things were put away and boxes that had been sitting around for months and months, untouched since moving, or untouched since I emptied them into plastic bins so that the cockroaches wouldn't get to them. Sidebar, it's the city, there are cockroaches everywhere, but when I moved in, there was a major problem with them that I had to basically clean up, and that was because of unforeseen circumstances that nobody could have actually prevented. There was somebody who had a Manhattan death upstairs. If you know what that is, you know what that is. But it felt good afterwards. But for the 12 hours before then, my apartment was a sea of absolute crap. It was a sea of reminders of the ex, like shirts that he had given me that were souvenirs from his various events, or gifts that he gave me that just reminded me of him in ways that weren't great, and papers that I had somehow, for some reason, kept, or things that just couldn't, that I didn't feel like letting go of. Uh, so there was that. But I got rid of all of it, or nearly all of it. There are still a few reminders. But like, I got rid of this huge lamp that was literally doing nothing except for serving as decoration, and I got rid of these stupid knickknacks that I only kept literally just because he gave them to me, and so on and so forth. And, taking the trash downstairs and taking the boxes downstairs, little by little, my floor just opened up and my apartment started looking like an apartment again. And at the end, it felt like there was this weight that came off. And I feel like that's true with anything. You go through, when something bad happens, you go through a lot of pain to fix things. But you have to categorically empty out the things that are inside you, and so on and so forth. And you have to do the autumn cleaning. You have to bag up all the trash and you have to take it down to the trash room. And little by little, things get easier. So, in the same way, this year has been like that. It was bad at first, but I took things apart and I looked at them and realized what parts were making me unhappy. And I'm not quite to the point where I'm standing in an apartment and feeling finally free and satisfied. There are still plenty of things outside of my control that keep me in a place where I'm not 100% happy. But for the time being, it's better than it was last year. And I feel like it's worth celebrating. And I'm doing that today, but also I kind of do want to do it on the 18th too, because, like, sure, I wouldn't say that's the start of my writing journey, but it was the start of me wanting to really sit down and talk about things with all of you, to share, to open up and share with strangers on the internet, and to take what I'm doing a little bit more seriously than I had been before. Or, I wouldn't even say that. I've been taking it seriously for a good couple of years now, and kind of, I admit, spinning my wheels a little bit. But what I mean is, it was like coming back to it. And it's not even like the last time that I've come back to it either. Like, the actual last time, you know how I just went through all kinds of fun stuff at the beginning of this year and then finally came back to it. Like, things come in cycles, but, like, I don't know. Like, even, it's a moment when I started sitting down with you guys and talking about these things. And I kind of do want to celebrate that, because that is still a marker. And for some of you, you have been with me for a year too, and maybe you want to see how far we've all come collectively. Or maybe you just kind of like, I don't know, you want to enable me to talk about how far we've come collectively in a year. I don't know. But this autumn I feel like celebrating. It's been 1 year since one thing or another, since kind of life fell apart and I started really putting things back together and starting being here with you. And that's me, that's something. I don't know. Maybe I will. We'll see. But in any case, that is the sound of dice that I have finally found. Dice are so pretty, guys. I'm so glad that I found these. I'm not actually going to use them. I prefer playing with a Firefox extension that rolls dice for me because I am bad at math, guys. But they're pretty, and I'm sure that they will help me make decisions later on. So that is my distraction for the evening. I am pushing it to the side, I swear. Second word sprint of the night, shall we? Anyway, 20 minutes are on the clock. I'm going to take the first few to just kind of like get up and take a little bit of a break, so don't be alarmed if nothing moves on your screen for a good bit. So long as you hear music, you are still fine. But I do hope that you make some progress on your own time. I will be back with you in just a second. But before I do, 20 minutes are on the clock. I wish you the best of luck with whatever you're doing, be it chilling or actually doing some writing, as I keep saying, or whatever it is that you'd like to do. Alright? Get ready, get set, and here we go. All right, and that is sprint number 2. How did we do? Let's see. There is. Alright. 390 so far, which isn't bad. It's not bad. I am kind of picking up steam. It is still very awkward. But, you know, it is what it is. The point, as I said in the last round, is that it's on paper and progress is being made. Ultimately, though, I do hope that I'm able to finish this chapter by the end of the week. That way, next week I can start in on the actual fun bits. Like, there's going to be a teeny tiny bit of exposition, a teeny tiny bit more of exposition before we actually get into the story proper, like the inciting incident and whatnot. Well, I say that's the inciting incident, but honestly, it's a little bit complicated. I mean, you could say no, I suppose it would be. Like, if we're having build up to this one event in these past couple of chapters, then whatever happens in chapter 4, or the end of chapter 3, I haven't decided yet, we'll get to that. That is really the inciting incident for the entire book, right? Like, the entire part where the guy turns into a dragon and shenanigans happen. But, I am looking forward to getting past this part. The first chapters are always, in my opinion, difficult. You know, like you're laying down. It's the slower part of the book. You're laying down the foundations. It's before anything happens, and you're introduced to the world. So, in my opinion, the beginning of a book is always the slowest paced, and sometimes the most boring. So that is why I'm telling myself, as I'm rating the first couple of chapters of this. But turning to the chat right now, Cryptic says, "Ooh, dice. Yes, they are. It's 2 sets of dice and random extra d20 for some reason, but it's all purple, and I am very happy. I probably need to. If I'm going to be a proper D&D nerd, I need more dice than just the 2 sets. But it's kind of like how I was looking over my bookshelf, and I'm like, if I'm going to be a proper lit nerd, I need more books. But that's the thing about settling in. You suddenly find that you have the space to do things, especially since I went off about emptying out all of my stuff, but really I had moved last year, so a lot of my stuff had disappeared in that move. And before then, I lived with somebody, and money was tight, and the apartment was mostly dipshits. So even though we paid equally, it was full of his shit. But the point is, I didn't have much of my stuff, and I hadn't had a chance to build up my collection of stuff from back whenever I used to live on my own and had an editorial job and therefore could collect books. So I am very excited about starting new collections. Maybe I'll do that this year. But anyway, yes, that is my response to Ooh Dice. Cryptic says BRB cat food time and probably a little bit of me food time. TBH, that happened at the beginning of the sprint. And then Cryptic just came back. And he says, I'm back with a bowl of chips. Excellent. I am glad that you are feeding yourself. What kind of chips is a follow-up question. You are now obligated to tell us the chips. But otherwise, I am going to continue rambling about progress. But yeah, I don't know, like this draft, I've been getting increasingly uncertain about each subsequent draft. This is going to be, as you can see on your screen, this is draft 6, and I'm redoing the entire plot from the ground up. Now, I will say that I was not proud of the past few drafts, but it's sort of like the problem with being super into a proper writing community. I say proper in that there are a lot of professionals and indie authors and trad-pubbed authors in the Blue Sky writing community. Cryptic says Lay's, specifically the lightly salted ones. Usually I don't like that in chips, but it's actually pretty nice on the Lay's. I have noticed that Lay's puts out weirdly good chips no matter which flavor you're doing, so it can work when you've got lightly salted slash mostly potato. But yes, that is an excellent choice, especially if you have Z munchies and need something in your stomach. And now, even though I've just had dinner and birthday cake, now I kind of want something salty. So if you start hearing me rustle around and start hearing crunches, you can blame it on Cryptic. But where was I? Yeah, basically that is the downside of sharing a space with all these really talented authors. You read their work and you read yours, and you're like, fuck. But at the same time, comparing yourself to somebody else is always a dangerous habit to do. So I try not to make it something that I do on the regular. And lately, what I've been saying is that this book is. I don't like the idea of saying this is something that I'm writing for me, because it's also kind of like, yeah, no shit. Everybody writes for themselves. The only people who do not write for themselves are the people who are doing nonfiction. And the most not writing for yourself concept out there is anybody who fucking writing a self-help book. Like, even autobiographies are less. You know what I mean about self-help books, because in my opinion, if you're writing a self-help book, you are really trying to monetize off of something. It is, in my opinion, the most capitalist genre of book in existence. You are packaging advice and selling it to people who are desperate for advice. And I don't know, it just feels weird. I'm sure that not all self-help authors are like that, but I don't know, like, whenever I see, like, a self-help account on Blue Sky, it really does, or even Instagram, it really just does feel like you're trying to sell me something. Not like you don't actually care about helping people's problems, you're just caring about selling an idea. By the way, to anybody who's new to these streams, hi, you've just hit the communist part of the stream. If you're a long-time listener of Night Rights, you know that there are usually 3 topics that I will get into inevitably on every stream. The first topic is food, the second topic is nostalgia, and the third topic is communism. We have gotten into the communist part, so there you go. Cryptic says, nah, I really feel you on the self-help book, right? Like, why? I have always felt that advice in general is not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. But, Cryptic says, yay, communism. Cryptic is also one of my biggest enablers, and that is why I always appreciate him on the stream. But anyway, yeah, it's like, I've always felt that advice is not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. The best advice is when you tailor it to a person's situation. So, like, if somebody's asking you advice or somebody's coming to you to talk about their problems, then then a good piece of advice, that's where the good advice comes in. You sit down, you think about their situation, and you try to help them actively with what they're going through. The worst kind of advice is just sort of like the astrology book of the slightly more scientific version of an astrology book, which is when you write about all these life tips that worked for you and package it up to sell to other people. And it's like, yeah. So that is my problem with the self-help industry. Anyway, back to the main topic. tangents upon tangents. Yeah, everybody writes for themselves otherwise. That is 99.9% of fiction, and the 1%, the 0.1% are the legitimately shitty books that are actually written for uh, only for monetization in mind. But other than that, everybody writes a little bit with their own interests and their own passions in mind. You do not spend hours upon hours upon hours cooking up a world if you don't, on some level, actually love doing that. Or if it's not at least a teeny bit self indulgent on some level. So, yeah, every book is for you. Uh, but, you know, why are you devoting yourself to this much effort? You know what I mean? So, like, there's something else that goes into writing, I think. Especially if you go on to publish it. Like, you could just, like, write thousands upon thousands of words and never publish. I know many, many people who actually do that. Um, but if you choose to share it with others, there must be a reason why. But I don't remember why I got on this topic. I think I was just talking about how I was looking at my own work and saying to myself that this is ultimately for me. It is 100% something that I want to have fun doing. Like, I was thinking about that, but recently with the genres that I read versus what I write. Like, I cannot get into fantasy as much as I was kind of hoping. Like, I'm still making my. I have found an audiobook of Dragonfall, and it still makes me want to throw something because of how much I just cannot care and cannot get into it, but I'm still doing it for the sake of calm titles. But I absolutely fucking love horror. I love horror books. I love suspense books. Grady Hendrix is my favorite author right now. It's, it's something that kind of really grabs at your emotions, by which I mean kind of puts you on the edge of your seat. And in Grady Hendrix's case, also kind of makes you cry as he's dragging you to the edge of that seat. It's great. I love it. Please give me more of that. But it's kind of funny because a lot of people who write will also read the same thing that they write. They get into their genre because they actually do love it and want to participate more. But for me, it's kind of funny because I love world building. I love creating uh, these goofy ass characters stumbling through plots into a happy ending, and that's not horror, basically. That's why I have more fun writing fantasy than I do, actually reading it. And that is why all of my projects are like super self-indulgent. They're just what I enjoy writing. They're how I enjoy speaking and how I enjoy thinking and how I enjoy plotting and so on and so forth. But, I'm still kind of like working through the entire thing about how betas had sat me down and told me that you can't write a novel in a year. And they're right. They were 100% right, and I fully acknowledge that. The past draft was underbaked, and the draft before that was underbaked. Just because I was trying to rush through it, I think. And also because, I don't know, it wasn't what they were expecting, I guess. But yeah, I've been kind of like dealing with that in a bit because I'm starting to see beta calls go out for books that people in my community have finished in their year, or I'm seeing like pre-sales for other books that I was on the beta team for, and so on and so forth. But oop, there we go. But yeah, it's like you take your time with things, and I keep telling myself that. The book will get done when it gets done, and I just need to do my best with it. And eventually we will talk about The Good Place, because the biggest thing that The Good Place teaches you is that you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be a little bit better than you were the day before. They meant that philosophically, but I think it's just like, I feel like that's a thing that's worth keeping in mind in general. You don't have to be perfect with it. You don't even have to be great at it. Like, I don't ever expect that I'll get a 5-star rating, but I'd be happy if I get a star eventually, because that means I actually put something out. But we'll see. I just have to be patient and keep on going and, take my time with it. But anyway, that is the ramble. Uh, I think the whole of it that I'm trying to say is I am constantly going back and forth about. I constantly need to tell myself to basically sit down and tell myself, be patient and don't compare yourself to others. You're writing this just for you, and so on and so forth. Because, it, sh- I also need to tell myself that this draft will look crappy to you because you're very close to it. And also, this is essentially your first draft all over again, so don't worry about it. It's like a whole bunch of things I'm telling myself constantly, because I am nearing 2 years since I started working on the very first concepts of or nearing 3 years actually, because I started doing this in like, no, it would be 4 years. 4 years in February, because the first short story that featured Mick and Eleanor was published in, was posted to my blog in February 2022. And I'd been planning and writing and rewriting their story ever since. And it sometimes feels like I haven't really gotten as far as I should, but and going into this draft, it feels like I had come so close to getting somewhere with that, and it turns out that I wasn't close at all. So to be right back at the beginning, it's hard. I think I might have mentioned this in a previous stream where all of these uncertainties were, or how I'm feeling all these uncertainties. But it is, a constant uphill battle, and it'll continue to be a constant uphill battle until I finally put down the last word of this book. It is still a trilogy, maybe a duology. I haven't planned that far ahead. But I'm trying my hardest to make this also a standalone book. Uh, Number one, so that I can pitch it to agents, and number two, just in case I put it out there and as a self-published book, and it turns out it's not worth pursuing the next one. But the point is, like, it's going to be a constant worry throughout. It has been a constant worry for this draft, because of how hard I'd had to be sat down by the betas and told that I was not ready to publish. So I'm very nervous going into this draft and trying to address their concerns and fix what was ultimately not a great story into something that lives up to a stranger's expectations. And I know some writers will say you shouldn't work towards a stranger's expectations, but I feel like it goes back to this one piece of advice, and I continue to bring up advice, but this one's actually good. Somebody had met John Waters at a convention, and if you don't know who John Waters is, uh, he was bigger in the 70s, 80s, and 90s as a B movie director. He did a lot of really hilarious satire films that were raunchy as shit and ultra violent. Like he did Cecil B. Demented, Serial Mom, Pink Flamingos, the legendary Pink Flamingos, which is possibly one of the filthiest movies about drag queens ever created. And that didn't involve porn. That Pink Flamingos. But, you know, somebody asked him, what are some tips for filmmaking? And he went through these rapid fire tips like if it's too long it is, and so on and so forth. But at the very end he also says somebody has to like it other than the person you're fucking and your mother. And that is word for word, that is John Waters in a nutshell. But he had a point. You can write for you, but if you intend to put it out there if you intend to put it out there, if you don't intend on keeping it to yourself forever and ever, then somebody other than you has to like it. So my metric is if I put it out there and at least one stranger likes it, then I've made a story that's good. Because one stranger can tell me, you know, this makes sense and it was a decent read. And that's really like the bar that I'm setting. So long as I clear that bar, we're fucking solid, man. But I have to keep working to get there. And I feel like I'm closer with this draft already, but at the same time, I know that I'm not to the level that we get with some of the other stuff that's out there. And I accept that, but you know, it is kind of like hard. But anyway, Cryptic says, I'd be happy knowing that just one person had fun reading my writing personally. Exactly. As I've said, it's somebody has to like it other than the person you're fucking and your mother. Same principle for me, 100%. Like, somebody has to like it other than me. So, it's like, I don't care if I get hundreds of Goodreads reviews. I just care if there's just one person who felt like it wasn't a waste of their time. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at, honestly. I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see. But in any case, it is 10:27. We can screw around for another like 3 minutes and then get started at 10:30 for our last sprint of the night. Let's see, what do I have on tabs for the rest of the week? This will lead into. I know that the final wrap up will also cover, you know, what are we doing, when's the next stream, and whatnot. But for funsies, let's take a look at the calendar and see what I've got going on. Okay, so it is Tuesday. 23rd obviously is going to be another Tuesday on which we stream. Basically, I don't really have anything planned for the next several Tuesdays, so you can expect me to be here and streaming every single Tuesday from now until I'd say the holiday season, when my family expects me to drop in and visit at least once. Family did visit this past week, so that's why I was absent. I do apologize, but family comes first, you know how it is. But as for special streams on, let's see, Thursday and Friday, there might be. I do kind of owe certain people a hello. I don't know if they're actually listening, but hello, FC. I should probably hang out with you more. And Wednesdays, of course, are always going to be off limits. Um, and that is our raid night. So I will be smacking away at magical things. Then Saturday, I think it's fairly free, so we might do a surprise stream then. I do want to get back into the swing of things and at least push my way to chapter 3 if I don't make it by the end of the week. So keep an eye on Blue Sky for that. 21st, I am going into the city and just having fun. I know that I had a birthday weekend last weekend, but I want to do like another one this weekend, possibly with friends going to museums. I've never been to the Guggenheim, so it would be kind of nice to check that out. You can probably expect pics later on. I might be bringing certain plushes and kind of doing my usual, hey, let's do an adventure kind of thing. Blue Sky has really enabled me on that subject. If I end up going on the 21st, that means the next time you will see me will be on the 23rd. So definitely keep an eye out on the 20th for a possible surprise stream. We'll see. Um, that said, it is currently 10:30, so I know that Cryptic is going to be chilling. I don't know if anybody else is around, but if you are and you are on a dock, get back to your dock and get ready for that last stream. 20 minutes are on the clock, and I will see you on the other side. Ready, get set, and good luck with a go. All right, that is the last of our sprints. How did we do? I know I didn't do as well as the first two. It's only 248 words, but hey, I made it to my 500 a day limit, so I am at least happy with this. And besides, it's not bad. And it is a difficult conversation to be writing. So I am counting this as a win overall. But how did the rest of you do? Cryptic, how did the chilling do? Otherwise, I've already gone over the schedule for the rest of the week. There might be that surprise. There might be a surprise stream on Saturday. We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I'll just feel like chilling. I am hoping to get back into handwriting pages, so maybe I'll take my notebook out and we'll see where that goes from there. But other than that, Cryptic says thinking about another stack. Go get more trips. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. I am enabling this midnight snacking. But on a serious note, yeah, basically, there might be a surprise stream on Saturday. Keep an ear out for that. Nothing tomorrow, obviously. Thursday, Friday, maybe, maybe not. Depends on if anybody's doing anything. Alternatively, I might just be grinding for my relic weapon in Final Fantasy. So, yes, priorities. Um, Other than that, the next, if I'm not streaming on Saturday, the next time you will see me will be next Tuesday. Cryptic says, other than that, good, excellent. Chilling, you were successful at chilling. You got an A plus in chilling. So with that all said, I want to thank you again for coming to the stream. We are wrapping up for the night, but you know, I've talked a lot tonight about how far I want to say we've all come, but honestly, a lot of it was kind of like me just venting and being like, I was just entering a bad place last year, and I feel like even in the past few months, I've come out of that. And I want to thank all of you for being right there along with me. Whether it was in these streams or during that hiatus, or during that hiatus I took between drafts, you might have been with me on Blue Sky or wherever you have been keeping up with me. Uh, Thank you for sticking around for that long and sticking around with me for these past few months. I do hope to make you proud with this draft. I do hope the draft goes anywhere. We'll see. But also, I just hope that the coming year is good for the both of us. Whether that's, whether I'm talking about myself and hopefully next my next birthday I'll be in an even better place, or whether I'm talking about you and I hope that next year when September 16th rolls around, you'll be in a better place. Whatever it is, I hope that the year treats you right. And I'll be saying this again when we're totally doing that anniversary stream. But I know I'll be saying a lot of this then too, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here with me and supporting me. And, you know, I love sitting here with you and chatting about what's going on, venting, ranting, whatever we're doing at the moment. Occasionally writing as well, occasionally doing that. It's all been a load of fun, and it's been great just to vibe, no matter what we've been doing. And I hope to continue it. So, with that in mind, thank you, and know that I love you guys. And if I don't see you on Saturday, I'll see you Tuesday. But until then, I hope you have a great night. I hope that it's chill. I hope you have a great rest of your week, whatever we end up doing. And I will see you around. Cryptic, go get those potato chips. But yes, thank you for coming to the birthday stream. Yay, I made it another year. Anyway, take care, everybody, and good night.